By the powers vested in me as Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I hereby constitute this assembly as a legal congregation of the University of Pretoria. During this assembly, degrees and diplomas with all the associated rights and privileges will be conferred and awarded to the candidates whose names appear in the program. We request all of you to join us in silent prayer or meditation to give thanks for the achievements of our students. Thank you. As Vice-Chancellor and Principal of the University of Pretoria, I extend a hearty word of welcome to you at this virtual graduation ceremony. I would like to welcome the Dean and Deputy Dean of the faculty, along with all persons to whom degrees and diplomas will be conferred and awarded. We also welcome families, friends and spouses to this virtual graduation ceremony. This is not the ideal way we would like to celebrate your achievement. It is disappointing that I cannot shake your hand and congratulate each one of you in person, and that you cannot walk across the stage to the ululation and cheers of your family and friends, with their cell phones raised to capture your momentous occasion, and that you cannot gather en masse to take photos with your family and classmates that will forever take pride of place in your homes. But even if it is not the ceremony we all dreamed of, this graduation is still a source of immense pride and acknowledgement. It is an online ceremony because in this time of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is not possible to hold large gatherings. Yet in some ways, COVID-19 has made this graduation and your achievement even more special. Because you did it despite COVID-19. You did it despite all those things that turned your life upside down. You did it despite your teaching and learning moving from UP's interactive hybrid mode to 100% online almost overnight. Even if connectivity was an issue, even if your circumstances were not always conducive to online learning, even if some of you found that your studies made you instant frontline workers, fighting the pandemic at the coalface, you did it. You persevered, worked hard, and if you stumbled along the way, you turned it into a stepping stone from which to pick yourself up and rise again. You did it against all the odds. You are a graduate and you achieved this during one of the most difficult periods in recent world history. We are so proud of you and so thankful to all those who invested in you and supported you in countless ways in your journey towards crossing this finishing line. It may have been a difficult finish line to reach. Some of you have suffered personal losses during this time. And to you, as well as to those whose loved ones are now battling the effects of this virus, we hold you in our thoughts. In the past 18 months, we have learned how precious life is. There are 1,437 of you graduating in the spring graduation, 9 online ceremonies over 5 days honoring both undergraduates and postgraduates across all 9 of the university's faculties: education, theology and religion, law, economic and management sciences, natural and agricultural sciences, engineering, built environment and information technology, humanities, veterinary science, health sciences, and the Gordon Institute of Business Science, popularly known as GIBS. To top it all, just over 10%, that is a massive 150 of you, are graduating with PhDs. If you consider that a PhD or Doctor of Philosophy is the highest academic level awarded for original research that contributes to knowledge creation in a particular field or discipline, that's more than impressive. Graduates, today is a major milestone and you deserve to be celebrated. You have laid a new path for you and your family. But your dreams and ambitions don't end here. By becoming a graduate, you are joining the ranks of the next generation of thinkers, doers, innovators, people who make a difference. And you have done it the UP way, which is about making a difference every day. And you can do so with confidence, knowing that you have been equipped with everything you need. Whether you are continuing your studies or going into the workplace, by choosing the University of Pretoria, you chose a university that not only provided you with the appropriate professional and technical skills, but strove to give you an all-round education that made you sensitive to the context and needs of others, adaptable, able to collaborate, and socially engaged citizens, rooted in your locality, yet able to think and act globally. But we are not just an ATM that provided you qualifications. We didn't teach you in a vacuum. We embedded large-scale community engagement into our curriculum. Chances you are one of the over 30,000 people who studied one of the 300 modules available to those who participate in community engagement annually. These approximately 3,000 projects engage with about 1,000 community partners and contribute almost 72 million rand per year to the local economy in terms of working hours. UP is the leader in South Africa in the fields of electrical and electronic engineering, mathematics, accounting and finance, and theology, divinity and religious studies. And UP's mineral and mining engineering was ranked among the top 50 in the world, according to the 2021 QS World University Rankings by subject. UP performs strongly because we're a proudly research-intensive, innovative African university. We produce high-quality, cutting-edge research that is transformative, impactful, and relevant to creating new African futures. We strive beyond excellence because, as Chris Brink, former Stellenbosch and Newcastle University Vice-Chancellor, argues in his book, The Soul of a University, Why Excellence is Not Enough, we address what we are good at and for. UP is the top-ranked university in South Africa in advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for industry, innovation and infrastructure, and life on land, which is testimony to our balanced approach to human and economic development. Those of you going into the workforce can feel secure knowing you are highly sought after as a UP graduate. UP is ranked among the top 4 South African universities in the QS 2020 Graduate Employability Survey, backed up by our own Graduate Destination Survey, which found that within 6 months of graduation, 93% of UP graduates are employed either full-time or part-time, with almost all finding that their degrees are relevant to their jobs. And in turn, employers rated UP graduates as displaying 80% readiness for the workplace. UP is all about reimagining and reconstructing a better future for South Africa and our continent, Africa. This has driven us to be involved on multiple levels since the pandemic broke out, from transdisciplinary research on how the virus infects people, to participating in international COVID-19 clinical trials, to the production of sanitizers, face masks, and face shields. We are also researching genome profiles to be able to identify who in the population is at higher risk of contracting fatal viruses and other diseases. And we are researching how people in society behave during a pandemic, because if we don't understand this, we cannot manage the spread optimally. Our Faculty of Health Sciences quickly incorporated COVID-19 into its primary healthcare curriculum. It is not only the pandemic that has disrupted our world, which is now also characterized by renewed political strife and wars, economic crises, inequality, poverty, unemployment, and multiplying forms of violence within the domestic sphere, what we call in South Africa gender-based violence and femicide. Since 1994, the University of Pretoria has made a significant contribution to the creation of a new society. We are not only in Africa, but also for Africa. And as can be seen both in our research and in the fact that students have chosen us from 38 countries on the continent, we have transformed the student body. 56% of UP's more than 56,000 students in 2021 are Black Africans. We have signed 24 memorandums of understanding and agreements with other African universities, and we work together. Excluding South African institutions in the past 5 years, we've co-authored 1,780 publications with collaborators from 330 institutions across the continent. You, our graduates, represent our hope for the future. You have the skills, the SARS, and the power to change your community, your country, the continent, and the world. You can make an impact. We want you to enjoy success and improve the lives of others. Every bit counts. Go out and play your part. For over 100 years, this university has been unwavering in its commitment to producing upstanding citizens. Our 300,000 successful alumni are testament to this. Many are household names who are continuing to make their mark in fields such as agriculture, business, engineering, education, health, politics, media, and on the stage and screen. And we dare not forget on sport fields. UP has always been a sporting powerhouse. We cannot all be the gold medalists who broke the world record at the Tokyo Olympics, as University of Pretoria alumnus Tatiana Schoonmaker recently did. But in our eyes and those of your family, friends, and community, you are all gold medalists today. We love to stay in contact with you. We want to share your hopes and dreams and successes. Download our app, UP Alumni Connect. It is the best way for you to be updated on the latest developments at UP and to network with fellow alumni. No matter where you end up in the world, remember you are part of the UP community. It's a community whose overarching strength is diversity in terms of staff, students, courses, and areas of research. University of Pretoria is an institution on its way to becoming a beacon for diversity and inclusivity, a future-oriented university that is a driver of social change. And you are now one of its graduates. Congratulations again. I hereby confer and award all degrees and diplomas in absentia with the associated rights and privileges to all candidates whose names appear in the graduation program.
Doctor of Philosophy, Lydia Adesanya. Thesis: Promoting conceptual understanding of mathematics in senior phase using meaning equivalence reusable learning objects. Supervisor, Professor M.A. Graham. Akbar Basong. Thesis: Experiences of teachers as curriculum leaders in South African secondary schools. Supervisor, Dr. T.A. Ojina. Witske Boon. Thesis: Moedertaal, dubbelmedium en tweede taal onderrig. 'n verkennend vergelykende studie van 3-jariges se sosiale en emosionele ontwikkeling. Supervisor, Professor I. Elof. Majisveri Chetty. Thesis: A training framework for early childhood education and care practitioners in transition from home to school. A Supervisor, Dr. M.C. Moon. Chantal de Wet. Thesis: The Revolution of a Miserable Teacher, an Autoethnography. Supervisor, Dr. A. Voss. Erika Halmbold. Thesis: The Impact of Lesson Study on the Professional Development of Early Grade Teachers. Supervisor, Dr. T.R. Venketsamy. Co-Supervisor, Dr. J.C. van Heerden. Jacobus Joubert. Thesis: Facilitating online learning for authentic real-life challenges in a makerspace environment. Supervisor, Professor J.A. Slobbert. Venice Joubert. Thesis: Lecturers' understandings of post-colonial policy change in curriculum. Supervisor, Professor K.E. Weber. Samuel Gambonde. Thesis: Stakeholders' experiences of the implementation of the National Qualification Framework in Namibian public universities. Supervisor, Dr. K.S. Adeyemo. Vuyisile Khumalo. Thesis: A Resilience Perspective of Learning Mathematics in a Disadvantaged Environment. Supervisor, Professor S. van Staden. Co-supervisor, Professor M.A. Graham. Bongani Lushozi. Thesis: Instructional approaches used in teaching learners who are facing severe to profound intellectual disabilities. Supervisor, Dr. M. Feinstone. Co-supervisor, Dr. M. M. Sifoto. Charles Mamombe. Thesis: Exploring how process-oriented guided inquiry learning elicits learners' reasoning about stoichiometry. Supervisor, Dr. Casey Matabate. Co-supervisor, Professor E. Geiger. Duello Machokana. Thesis: Strengthening the implementation of early childhood development policies to improve quality. Supervisor, Professor K. Bypath. Co-supervisor, Dr. T.R. Venkatami. Ntembe Mbewe. Thesis: The contextual nature of learning in community schools in Lusaka. Supervisor, Dr. R. Stein. Co-supervisor, Professor J. M. Wasserman. Editor Moyo. Thesis: Botswana teaches experiences of formative assessment in Standard 4 mathematics. Supervisor, Professor S. van Staden. Co-supervisor, Dr. C. Gombrink. Sipigelelo Mgari. Thesis: Strengthening discourse-intensive pedagogical practices. The utility of peer-facilitated small group discussions to develop critical analytic thinking. Supervisor, Professor M.F. Omidire. Co-supervisor, Professor Al Eberson. Neti Ndo. Thesis: Systemic support strategies for learners with language disorders in multilingual contexts. Supervisor, Professor M.F. Omidire. Master of Education, Sadia Abu Ghani. Sunay Bueta. Maureen Kutsia. Diane Fairbanks. Zanal Krier. Katleho Lishabane with distinction. Tandy Maslango. Sharnal Malarba. Memory Muganiwa. Carolina Pretorius. Lorette Pretorius with distinction. Anal van Rooyen with distinction. Curriculum and Instructional Design and Development, Ma Shine. Education Management, Law and Policy, Lydia Ikuemesim. Vivian Masego. Ponto Muepia. In Educational Leadership, Joannette Vermaak. Matlou Madibana. In Educational Psychology, Claudine Fusser. Sylvia Tsatsello. Joanne Kurtzen. Karen Fredericks. Kiamogetswe Mechwe. Samantha Ella Reiters. Sarah Silber. In Learning Support, Guidance and Counseling, Ramasela Seko. Bachelor of Education Honours, Assessment and Quality Assurance in Education and Training, Lebohang Moitjela, Ntabeleng Mokoteli. Computer Integrated Education, Amy Beleli. Shanley Sister with Distinction, Esther Dutoy. Nompumelelo Dwanya, Kautar Gallo. Sabelo Maseti with Distinction, Unati Nyamezele, Tamsin Patel. Azra Sali, Shamiz Sali, Rifka Sasman, Simpiwe Sigonyela, Kim Thompson, Remick van Wyk, Viunefa von Willing with Distinction. In Education Management, Law and Policy, Vannelie Baker, Juliet Bohopa, Isabel Buthelezi, Isaac Chilwane, Musala De Huis, Selina Diale, Mbuyazwe Dwango, Nombuyiselo Fumba, Tulani Gumbo, Tobeka Gumede, Takalani Hadzi, Fanisa Oveni, Johanna Kaba, Rose Kapini, Lindelwa Kalipile, Itumeleng Kiitsimore, Mamphake Khare, Matabo Khodumo Musikili, Sibilo Kobo, Lindiwe Konjelwayo, Ashley Koza, Lydia Koza, Simpiwe Kumalo, Mulatelo Lihutso, Mukiti Litibelane, Nompilo Lubuzo, Grace Luhlongwane, Lobusang Lucas, Tulani Lutuli, Vincent Mabea, Tembelihle Mabena, Nzimeni Madlingozi, Estin Mainetsa, Limikwana Magagane, Batsukile Magopane, Makuma Mahasha, Nomalibu Mahlangu, Nonbuso Mahlangu, Promise Mahlangu, Balungile Majola, Machweni Mahato, Sharon Makinyana, Mashudu Makubele, Magdalene Maluleke, Mahlodi Mamabolo, Katazile Manzini, Pulane Maoke, Julian Mashiko, Mafutse Maslela, Nelly Masombuka, Sizile Masondo, Masiapei Masuku, Mologadi Matsepe, Nomvula Mbatha, Nomalungelo Mbonambi, Miriam Mbonani, Nomusa Mdlalose, Ntsako Mdluli, Nomandiya Mjila, Tsakani Mkhabele, Mbali Mkhize, Ana Mkhondo, Lungile Mlambo, Zandile Mncube, Pinky Mnisi, Molelekeng Mnyadi, Aurelia Muabelo, Mamokoma Modiba, Mavis Mohosi, Nkupane Mukabi, Khwale Mukubedi, Mitten Moku, Elizabeth Mokori, Mpadile Mukwena, Miriam Molapo, Virginia Mulubela, Makatsila Muraba, Matsiliso Musholi, Martha Musweu, Portia Motle, Yvonne Mutolu, Thalma Msebenzi, Busi Msibi, Faith Msomi, Tembegile Mtimkhulu, Thokozile Mthombeni, Bekwera Mulawudzi, Zandisile Mxokozeli, Precious Ndlovu, Happiness Ndwandwe, Nkosnathi Ngobese, Chebi Ngwendrane, Dorothy Nhleko, Ruth Nkwe, Emily Nkosi, Khosi Nkosi, Tinyiko Nkuna, Margareta Noge, Memorial Nonyana, Bonisiwe Nsele, Lungile Ntombela, Kuku Ntshangase, Khululiwe Ntuli, Nonhlanhla Nxumalo, Thandazile Nxumalo, Thembani Nyezi, Mary Nzondo, Esther Nzungane, Disebo Oliphant, Miriam Pagati, Molike Pakwago, Mrukulo Phala, Bamakele Phatlane, Rachel Phoswa, Boitumelo Rakibane, Mushiane Rantobeng, Marwale Rapiri, Takalani Ravele, Pindiswa Samela, Motsatsi Sathege, Peladi Sikwadi, Mashiko Sikwati, Marjorie Sengane, Alinya Sinanyane, Sani Shabangu, Busisiwe Situ, Mozipho Simelane, Wakhile Skei, Thandi Skosana, Josephina Soyikwa, Nonki Takadi, Mutlana Taga, Maputi Tatana, Virginia Tutse, Tabsile Tibe, Pumla Times, Madibeti Jabadi, Sekgope Jale, Christina Zoba, Melusi Xaba, Learning Support, Beverly Mills, Mathematics Education, Monray Gilbert, Stembisile Sbanyoni, Teacher Education and Professional Development, Stephanie Andrew, Linky Baloi, Marx Baloi, Musima Baloi, Amy Biggins, Talente Biela, Julian Boast, Langelihle Cele, Morake Chabalala, Mignon Kamsti, Esetu Daniso, Linda Dikwayo, Nwabisa Dlamini, Gregory Edwards, Cherith Elliott with distinction, Mishalini Govender with distinction, Seloshni Giawali, Chanel Armsa, Vuyo Hlahla, Nompumelelo Hlatshwayo, Lihle Hlophe, Christinolia Janssen, Desiree Jarvie with distinction, Matsidiso Khaile, Ramadimeja Khopane, Notlantla Khumalo, Sabeliwe Khumalo, Dumazile Khuzwayo, Landiswa Khuzwayo, Lucas Kupai, Charlotte Kubiane, Nomcebo Kunene, Ramatsimele Kupa, Ritobona Lalamani, Tlou Lipalala, Nozbele Lobese, Ayanda Luvuno, Trifosa Mabasa, Gabisile Madukana, Mbumbu Mahlatsi, Mohaeji Maila, Nondumiso Majali, Innocent Makaleng, Nombuso Makaza, Mahotle Makobotlwane, Ellen Makua, Mashangu Maluleke, Tsegofatso Mamogobo, Mateka Manyama, Siputane Marobane, Malisela Masikela, Khahliso Mashabela, Ntibaleng Mashapa, Mathapelo Mashikho, Khulufelo Mashiane, Kubodi Mashilo, Tulisile Maslela, Martina Maswabi, Figile Maswambuga, Figile Matenchi, Mikateko Matonzi, Vusmuzi Matonzi, Sibakane Matlakala, Slindile Mbata, Noktula Mbele, Deliwe Mbuyane, Zodwa Mdlalose, Taylor Mitchell, Leletu Mlobeli, Winnie Mweng, Lihlonolo Mohabi, Mataleng Mukalodise, Martina Mukati, Isaac Mokome, Maboitsane Mukwena, Lesecha Mulala, with distinction, Jacqueline Mulefe, Xolani Mulefe, Khasane Munyela, Tetenki Mutaungu, Machi Mutapo, Takwane Mutiba, Tulufelo Mutsene, Mpato Mokangwe, Mupedi Mpe, Tebekano Modao, Mukondereri Mukwebo, Zwiswa Mulawudzi, Gundo Mutiche, Matume Mvubu, Togozani Mziago, Karina Muller with distinction, Vanishri Namdu with distinction, Bonnie Naidu with distinction, Kirshni Nair, Khanyisile Ndabugelwayo, Christopher Ndlangamandla, Kirileng Ndlovu, Nkosnati Ndlovu, Ntankanedzeni Nelufule, Khanyisile Ngcobo, Lungile Ngcobo, Mateu Ngwato, Ilusi Nkwana, Thembelihle Nkosi, Khuputso Ntswane, Mamayite Nyathi, Mugaichi Pokane, Franchet Potgieter, Matate Ragwale, Mkhadi Ramasodi, Lucanyo Rai, Adam Reynolds with distinction, Joanna Reynolds with distinction, Natalie Rodwell, Nadine Ruas with distinction, Patience Siabela, Lisicha Siale, Sillo Sichabe, Marissa Senegal, Mulukhari Shabangu, Mlulegi Sbisi, Oliswa Stole, Puledi Tepanyeja, Dicheu Tobejane, Makafula Tosajo, Khalatsane Thulo, Tandega Twala, Photo Jaji, Sarusha Tulsi, Labengwa Chitimbi, Sieke Tudume, Catherine van Rooyen, Nomakosi Zulu, Pilani Zwane, Tulufelo Mweketsi, Postgraduate Diploma, Technical and Vocational Education and Training, Glenn Jacobs, Marimabe Palane, Bachelor of Education, in Early Childhood Development and Foundation Phase, Paula Bredenkamp, Chantal Small, in Further Education and Training, General, Vuile Nokwindla, Lisejo Shabalala, in Further Education and Training, Human Movement Science and Sports Management, Anku Subsmal. In Intermediate Phase, Fatima Suleiman. Intermediate Phase Teaching, Margu Siliers. In Senior Phase, Sanele Dladla, Tandega Sbiya. Senior Phase and Further Education and Training Teaching, Marley Yunus, Cornelius Janse van Vieren, Digeledi Malachi, Sillo Machila, Lisijo Mukone, Casey Stewart.
Let us give our graduates a big hand for their hard work and perseverance. I would like to thank the families, friends, and spouses and partners for supporting our graduates during their studies. We have now come to the end of the proceedings. Please join us in singing the national anthem. By the powers vested in me, I hereby dissolve this assembly of the University of Pretoria.